Hey everybody, how's it going? So welcome back to Brighton Pier, or as we know it in Planet Coaster, Shorehaven Pier. It's a rip-off. So the first two episodes were spent visiting the deep, dark depths of history and also building out our beautiful entrance area and our arcade. Now it's time to ring in the modern with some rides. Oh, and a final restaurant. So the very end of Brighton Pier contains a whole host of rides, old and new, and it seems only fitting that we rip that off as well, right? Let's do it. Alright then you guys, here we are at the end of the pier. It is the moment you've been waiting for. It's time to put in our first rides. Now Brighton Pier has got a coaster called Turbo. This is what it looks like on the pier. It's manufactured by Pinfari and it is literally the most heinous, uncomfortable, rough coaster you're ever going to imagine. But do you know what? It's lightweight and that's exactly what you want at the end of the pier. Now lucky for us, the Eurofighter won the vote. Here's the proof of that. The weight of the Eurofighters are actually okay as well, particularly if you buy an off-the-shelf model such as Hydrus, Rage or Speed. Now we can't do an exact replica of Turbo, it just doesn't exist in the game, but we can do something similar and you can see it in the background. So in terms of what I've done to the pier so far, I have extended the main pier out here and I've just put a couple of shops just down the middle just to make this make sense. What I'm going to do is copy this up and have like a middle seating area and stuff so it's consistent. This is where I'm going to put the restaurant. I think I'm going to do it in this episode. I think it makes sense to do this bit, the restaurant and the coaster in this episode, right? But I've just started to also place out some of the other rides as well. So just to give you a bit of insight, the pier originally did extend right the way out here and I started to really struggle with scale. So I'm sort of going off piste a little bit here. I do want to follow all of the cues from Brighton, but now we need to start designing our own stuff. Brighton has another arcade that sits in the middle. This used to be I think it was the smoking room or the library that sat at the end of the pier. I'm not going to be doing that in this. We've already got an arcade and that episode did not do that well, as it turns out. So we won't be doing that again. We're going to be focusing our attentions here. So this is what I've done for the Eurofighter. It is a clone of Hydrus. Over in America. It's an off-the-shelf model and I've tried my best with Planko scale. So I've not used the 4-meter method for this because the 4-meter method just doesn't work for a recreation of this size. But what I did do is the My Curious Mind technique of making it the exact same size. So when he's been doing all of his Thorpe Park recreations, he has the floor plan, puts it onto billboards, puts it onto the floor and then builds the coaster around it. So he knows that all of the recreations that he's done for Thorpe Park are all the correct size. This is exactly what I've done here. So that meant I had to sort of do away with the 4-meter method. What that does also mean, because this is a really compact coaster, you lose some of that heart lining that you have. So this here is set to 2-meter offset, but unfortunately you just lose it because you smooth it out and that's it. Like it goes. So it is what it is. It rides okay, that's all that matters. It rides okay, it's the correct layout, that's all that matters. So we're going to come out of the station here, we go into that vertical lift hill, we go into the first drop, into the loop. Then it's like an overbank, it's not a banana turn, is it? But it's like an overbank turnaround, then it comes up into a curve, into an inline twist, and then into the final brake run. It's a really, really, really simple layout. Now, in terms of the weight, this is actually okay for this pier because you've got the central area here is actually holding most of the weight, so you couldn't have this facing the other way where the first drop is along here because it would potentially topple out of the pier. But because it's sitting in the middle, we are distributing a lot of the weight through this column here, this column here, and this column here, and then the diagonal braces are what would be transferring and deferring all of the weight. So we're good to go. We're good to go there. So this bit here, it's going to need custom supporting. At the moment, you can see the supports are like going underneath here. So no, that's not okay. I will need to custom support it. I just need to do some research on where those supports would be. Hydrus is on a pier and it is supported on wood and everything. So we know that they do have almost like traveling supports, if you like. So I'm going to be able to do that. The station itself, I'm going to follow the cues of Turbo. This is what Turbo looks like in the Brighton Pier. So this is the station. And these are the pictures that I took on the recce. So I'm going to follow those cues, and we're going to go for something that's similar to that. In terms of other rides, I've just started to put some other rides in. We do have an Enterprise. There is a travelling fair version, so it doesn't have to be plumbed into the ground. This works okay in terms of weight distribution because there is like a counterweight that lives here, so it would stop it from toppling over, particularly in the wind. So you don't want a gust of wind coming from this way as it's up like this, because then it's possibly going to topple over into the sea. But there's a counterweight that's in here in travelling versions that stops that from happening, so that's all good, and it probably wouldn't operate in high winds anyway, so it's fine. And then over here, this is the other way around. So Brighton Pier has this kind of haunted house here, and then the coaster over here, but I've swapped it around because I wanted the coaster to be the main feature of the area, and this haunted house is just a real quick layout that I've thrown together. This is not this episode. This is definitely a Tomorrow Me problem. Whatever, I don't care. And then we've just put the Forge in here. It feels like you need some kind of impending ride at the end of the pier that could possibly overshoot the pier and face out to sea. You wouldn't put a hammer swing in; they're too heavy, and they're not very well grounded. They have to be grounded into the ground. They can't be onto a pier. So this is kind of what we're going for here with the Forge. I have no idea what's going to come over here. I want one more coaster, I want a log flume, and I want dodgems. That's all I know. But for now, this is enough to work on, right? I think we should just get on with it, and I'll see you in a minute. Alright then, you guys, as is tradition for the middle part of the episode, there's quite a lot of change, but there's also quite a lot of mess. I mean, I am not a tidy builder. Look at the state of all this down here. I've decided as well I'm not going to touch the back end of the pier. In fact, I might actually remove it for the big reveal. I've got some stuff that I want to do in the front here instead. But there is one massive change that you'll see, and that's here. And we've binned off the Enterprise. Let's talk about that for a moment. So these rides here, I wanted them to feel like they were temporary rides, you know, that like the travelling fair rides that have been placed on top of the pier. They won't be travelling around. They'll be there permanently. They would have been there for a number of years. But I just wanted to kit out like these rides properly. So I wanted to have the billboards that have the images on here, and I wanted to have metal tread plates, and I wanted to have the railings and stuff. And the Enterprise pad, if we go over to the Enterprise pad, it's just too much. It's just too big. Like this gap here, it's just too much. So I binned it off, I'm sorry. And what we're left with is this. Now, the inspiration for this has obviously come from Brighton. There's a very similar ride. These are the images that I took from my recce. And I wanted to replicate as much as I possibly could this idea of that decorative skirting that's got images on it, and also the metal tread plates for stairs and stuff. So that's what I've done. These stairs here, by the way, are hiding some pretty unsightly stuff that's going on underneath with pathing and whatever. I'm like, it's fine. Like, hide it, whatever. And then this bit along here, I've decided not to make it an image. I've actually just made it a metal wall. I mean, it works absolutely fine. It's you know, it doesn't look out of place or anything. I don't know if I'm going to change the colours of the actual main ride itself, but you know, it's fine for now. And I also wanted to put the Hydrus fencing around here. So the idea with this one is that this official fencing only goes so far, and then the Hydrus fencing has been used to extend the queue. Now, I've had to fight the purist in me. I really have, because I can't do anything with the fact that the Planet Coaster is showing me the curbs, and I also can't do anything with the fact that I can't do a square edge here. I hate it when people use round queues. Like, it's just not right in every circumstance, but it is what it is. I can't get a longer queue and have square edges here, so I'm just going to deal with it, right? It's fine. The Hydrus fencing does a decent enough job here anyway, and we are just going to have to squint and just pretend that these curbs don't exist. I'm sorry, guys, I can't do anything with it. But it really is upsetting the purist in me. So these two rides here, they would just be plonked on top of the pier. I mean, there's no real engineering or anything that's involved in here, so this is all good. This is counterbalanced in its own right, so this Lupo plane has got its own counterbalance, and a merry-go-round is a merry-go-round. And I just wanted to put like this fencing in, this white fencing. Again, Brighton uses it, so why not why not have ours, right? So whatever. And I've also just done the don't die fencing along here. I've just noticed I've got a gap that I need to clean up, but yeah, this don't die fencing all along this side gives you a pretty decent view of the coaster going through here, right? So I love it. And you'll spot that we've now got custom support. Come on, why is that just changed? You'll spot we've now got custom supports. I've custom supported this. It doesn't actually look that much different, I'll be honest, but I have custom supported it as best as I can anyway. So these coasters can have temporary supports or travelling fair supports. And they work absolutely fine. They work on like a concrete base. So Hydrus is the example for this one. I've pretty much just copied where the supports and stuff are for Hydrus. But yeah, so you've got some that are bedded into concrete pillars, and that's the ones that are going to contain the... What am I trying to say? Get my words together. It's going to be what's going to give the most support for this coaster, right? Because this is going to be where the most forces and the most movement would be in the track. And then these bits are just subsequent supports that you've got. So they would be supported by pretty decent metal bars and stuff. So that's what we've got along here. Some TMTK and whatever needed along the track course. I need to put some lights in. I need to put electric boxes and all of that sort of stuff that you would find. Likewise with the station. So the station itself, I've taken inspiration from Turbo. So these are the images that I took from Turbo. The station itself is pretty open and it's pretty generic, it's pretty jank. And Planet Coaster doesn't do jank very well, as we know. So what we've ended up with is a relatively decent decorated station in Planet Coaster, right? But it is what it is. So I've taken the inspirations in the sense that you've got neon lights. I don't know if you can see them on here. Neon lights underneath here. And you've also got like the decorative stuff on the front. It still needs touching up. It still needs final details. And obviously it needs a Theme Maker's Toolkit pass. I haven't done that completely in here. And the stations in Planet Coaster are really wide, whereas in real life this probably wouldn't have as far... Well, this platform here wouldn't exist, that's for sure. And then this probably wouldn't be so wide. But hey, whatever. As I said, we're dealing with Planet Coaster. This is the maintenance area. And the actual transfer track is this bit here. It would spin. And this is one of the beauties of having a Eurofighter, is because this actually happens. You don't have to have transfer tracks. This area spins around 90 degrees, and then this is like your maintenance area. It would be completely on show. You've got no way of hiding it, and you wouldn't make any effort to hide it either. Then I just wanted to copy across these tread plate pathing. So I did originally use the trick in my 2-meter path method to make the 2-meter pathing here, but the AI did not like that at all. All the guests were getting stuck, so I ended up with 4 meters, and do you know what? It's fine. It works absolutely fine. Squint, you know, again, the purist in me hates it, but then we've got curbs here anyway, so just don't look there. It's fine. So I also was tempted, by the way, just going back to this idea of the pads. I was just trying out different other rides that could be raised up as well, and I think the Troika's going to work okay. This one's probably not, and the Enterprise can go to hell. So coming into the restaurant then. There's lots and lots has happened in here. So again, this is very much based on the Brighton one. I need to do the touching up and whatever in here, but I wanted to keep this idea of the Victorian stuff going on. So this is what we've got here. We've just got some Victorian supporting pillars going on here. We've got all the lighting and whatever, and this would just be a room of seats and tables. There wouldn't be much decor in here. It is what it is, right? Just a bit of fancy flooring that we've got going on. I just need to copy all of this across. It then opens out into a bit more seating, and I've got some casual seating for casual dining along the front here, along the top here. But then we've also got a bar, and I quite like how this has turned out. This is a different thing for me. It's a different design. So yeah, I quite like how this is sitting. Obviously, I need to put some barriers and stuff down to stop the guests from walking through here and whatever, because they don't need to be behind there. But lots of Theme Maker's Toolkit stuff that you can use for bars. And then I've just pulled some the T-bars in from other park builds that I've done. So I used this in Chachalandia, I used it in Fundy Fun Spot, and I also used it in Grosvenor Gardens as well. So that's now 4 out of 5. Actually, I think it's in Reigate Lake as well, actually. It's over in the hotel. So there you go. It's in every one of the parks. It's spot where they are. So yeah, lots of Theme Maker's Toolkit stuff, and then lots of detailing going on in here. But like I say, it would just be a room of seats, and I wanted this to be slightly functional. I didn't want this to be just a dead space. And then over in the corner, just a little bit of casual dining. So I just need to do final details in here, put the roof on, and decorate the outside and whatever, and then that should all be done. And I also wanted to use the strip lighting as well. So you'll notice that the design that I'm using here is very similar to the entrance area, and that's because that design from the entrance area needs to carry through. This in the middle is going to be a flat roof, but I don't quite know what I'm going to do with the middle bit of the flat roof, because otherwise it feels a bit like a McDonald's, and that's not what we're going for. And the last bit to show you in this update then is this middle bit. So all I've done in the middle is just copied it across from the front entrance, because that's exactly what you do. It'd be the same length and whatever, it would be symmetrical. But these shops are new, and they feel a bit weird because again, it's Planet Coaster scaling. They're 4 meters tall, so in reality all of this would actually be lower. There wouldn't be as much of a gap here if I could do 3 meter high, but it's fine. This works just as well, and it's absolutely cool. Now this is interesting. So they do have this like outside runner, this outside catwalk. It's to service the outside of the building, but in reality, and this is the picture that I took, in reality they don't have railings, so you could quite literally fall into the sea. I wouldn't want to be doing work there, thank you very much, but I've just managed to incorporate, or made sure that I've incorporated those in there as well. And there's no easy guest access for this, so it's not like a guest could get there and fall into the sea. In fact, they're far more likely to jump over the railings into the water below. But please don't do that. If you're on a pier, don't jump off a pier into the water. Anyway, the other side is just a carbon copy, just with different shops. I actually wanted to have some kind of gift shop over this side, and then I wanted to have food and drink over this side. So it works quite nicely. Don't know whether I'm going to put a canopy. At one point, Brighton did have a canopy here. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think I quite like it just being open. So this is how the pier is looking from this side. We need to talk tickets though later on. I think I need to put some ticket booths in, because at the moment we've got no way of actually going on rides. We're just assuming they're just going to pay at the ride. So anyway, I'm going to carry on. I'll see you in a minute. Alright then, you guys, in the interest of keeping the promise to myself and not to spend 60 hours a week doing an episode, I'm ready to get the done for now stamp out. I've got plenty to show you. I've done plenty. I could carry on. I'm loving pulling this pier together. It's so much fun, but I do need to physically stop myself. I need to have content to show you in the coming weeks. But welcome, Bombora. Thank you, Ben, for your submission. This was the perfect name for this coaster. You were the clear winner on the vote this week as well. So thank you. And yes, Poetry Slam 78 over on Twitch has actually taught me how to do this with the lettering. They're Theme Makers Toolkit letters. It's on a timer. It's on a 7-second rotation, and it just phases through. I think it's 4 or 5 different colours. The typical Chacho colours, the blue, the pink, the yellow, etc., etc. But it just makes this area come to life. It's like the perfect thing to put onto this pier. It just brings that to life. And then we've just got the supplementary sign that comes over here as well, the Bombora sign. By the way, Bombora is something to do with a wave that breaks on shallow water. It's a slang term, apparently. So that's what I learned. So yeah, we've got the supplementary sign on here, and I've just done the Theme Makers Toolkit touch up. This station is now pretty much looking as much as I want it. It's really difficult to do a pier build, because when we're doing a full park, you sort of have to do the landscaping around it, and you put trees, and you put some theming, and you put lots of things to see. And you don't get that on a pier. It's just an open space, and it feels so alien to be building like this. It's like so minimalist, and it just doesn't look right. It doesn't feel right, but it does at the same time because it's a pier. If you look at Hydrus, the middle of that ride is, well, it's actually the exit path, but we wouldn't do that in Britain. You just wouldn't have guests walking through the middle of the ride area on a pier. It's bad enough at a theme park. So anyway, it's like a completely different way of building, and it's a completely different way of looking at stuff. But yeah, this is the station then. So I've just done lots of touching up around here, lots of like just slight tweaks, slight movements. There's not a lot that you'd notice. I mean, most of this was in the last update, but I've just moved the positioning and stuff just to tidy it up. But inside the station, I've done the Theme Makers Toolkit pass, so it's things like the CCTV cameras, the push points, the signage, and whatever. And I didn't really get to show you this because it wasn't quite finished, but underneath here we've got all of the tread plate stuff that comes underneath here, so it just sort of like boxes off that station quite nicely. You wouldn't necessarily find electrics and whatever underneath here. They would be pretty well hidden, even if it is a travelling version of a coaster. The exit path I've not done anything with, but just at the front here I've just put some extra signage up. I think I'm toying with the idea of having like token signs or some kind of, because of weather conditions you need so many riders, etc., etc. I don't know whether I'm going to go to that level at the moment, because the signs don't exist. I don't have them on Theme Makers Toolkit, and the video screens are too big for that kind of sign. So yeah, whatever, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what the rest of the pier looks like. So anyway, that's enough of talking about the coaster. Let's talk about the flat rides. So yeah, I've done all of my touching up here. Now what I've done is I've tried to hide, where possible, the amount of curbs that are on show. Again, it's this purist in me that's like screaming from the rooftop. So I've put in a couple of stalls. I've put in a couple of vending machines because the guests, the reason I've done this with the vending machines is because the guests are going to cluster and it's going to hide the curbs from vision, even though they're not being hidden, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like a bit of camera trickery going on in here, but actually it fills out the area quite nicely. Over here, I've just put in some of the flat ride paraphernalia that you tend to find in a pier or on a travelling fairground ride. So this is now kind of lit up. I'll show you this at night, by the way, towards the end, so you can see what it looks like, because it does sort of come to life at night. The merry-go-round, not much has happened. I've just put a couple of signs, a few vending machines and stuff around it, and this is an ATM that's hidden in here, so it's not actually a parking machine, a parking ticket machine. It is... It's an ATM because I didn't have one. Then over here, I've just put some seating that you could look out to sea. It's actually surprising when you look at Brighton, they don't utilise a lot of waterside seating, particularly when it comes to the end of the pier, and you think they would because you'd like to look out to sea and you'd like to look out at the Rampion wind farm, etc. But they don't, and that's something we'll talk about in future episodes. But for now, this pier, Shorehaven, does have seating on the end, purely because I needed to use this space. If there's nothing that would fit in here, so I needed to put something in there, and that's what I've done. So you'll also spot we've now got a new addition. So we have the Dodgems. I did say I wanted to put Dodgems into this pier, so this is what I've done, and I've just started to put this in. This isn't quite finished yet. I was playing with the idea of having the fences and stuff. That's what I was doing, and how I was going to deal with the pad for the Dodgems. And then I remembered this is how I did it in Disneyland. So this is what I've done. The queue for the Dodgems when the pier is padded out won't be so long. So this Harris fencing temporary queue would be enough. And then you just have some kind of a fence along this side. But then what I've also done is this side doesn't have a fence, because this is what you find in real life. Dodgems wouldn't have an organised queue unless it's a Thorpe Park or a theme park. Dodgems don't tend to have an organised queue. You just sort of wait around the outside, wait for the Dodgems to finish, and then you all flood in without there being any kind of organisation to it. So I'm kind of going for a bit of a hybrid between allowing that and having an organised queue, because Planet Coaster dictates that we need a queue, so it kind of fits in, right? It is what it is. And then this is also new, so we've got ourselves a ticket office. So when I say tickets, I'm not talking about like park entry tickets. It would be free to come onto the pier, but you would buy either a wristband or certain tokens for certain rides. Certain rides would have a pay as you ride kind of theme. So this is what we're going for here. It's nothing spectacular. It's just put together just quite nicely, just to represent where you would buy tickets. It's not like a big office. It's not an organised office. It would just be one of those garden sheds that you pick up and throw into a Christmas market. It's the same sheds. You just put some decoration and stuff on the top. So that's what we've done. And we've got obviously the Chacho colours, the yellow, the purple. Well, it's pink, isn't it? Yellow, pink, and orange going on in here. So I like it. I quite like how it is. If anybody, by the way, wants to do some pricing for me, please do, because these screens need something on it, and if it's not going to be pricing, then it will be something else that's probably not of much use, right? So if you want to, please go ahead. There is another one, so it's a carbon copy over here. That's not its final resting place. There's something in the next episode that's going to come here, so watch this space. But I've just made sure that I remember to put one this side, so it's there. And then we come to the restaurant. I absolutely love how this has turned out. This is just, it's better than I thought it was going to be. It's really come together now. The roof is on and I've done some decorating. I wanted to make sure that the design is consistent from the front of the park and from the dome and everything, so that's why we've got all the strip lighting. That's why we've still got the same domes. I've removed the wooden panels on the side of the domes, but I've kept some of the panels in because they would be used as wind breaks. So even though this looks like I've forgotten to remove bits, actually this is very deliberate. This is sort of like to break up the wind and to move it through. It's a scientific thing. It's a real thing, I promise. And the puns are back. Hooray! The puns are back. The salty beach. Yes. So we have a tendency in the UK, especially when pub chains like Wetherspoons come along, they name their pubs some random names. It's normally the Moon Underwater or something that's related to the area, and so yeah, the Salty Beach it feels like that would be kind of like the pub name here. Outside seating, lots of outside seating. There would be so much outside seating for this area because it's a pier park and it's out at sea, and it would be really, really popular. And this would probably be a place as well where, by the way, unlike Wetherspoons, the food is good. Is that slanderous? Is it libels? Or is it actually fact? Whatever. They're not known for their gourmet food, let's just be honest. You go to a Wetherspoons when you don't want to microwave your own food. So inside here, oh man, I'm going to get sued. Inside here, we've just got the seating area and stuff. I wanted to mix up the flooring. Well, I'm not entirely happy with how this has gone. I might change it out, but for now this is sort of like, this is done. So I wanted to have this fancy flooring in the front because it felt like this would be like a reception area in the old version of the building, and then inside here would then just be tiling and stuff. I use this flooring, this tiling, because I like it, but I don't think I like it in this setting. But hey, it's okay for now. It wouldn't be wood, it would be tiles. Let's just go. You guys have got stuck, and I'm going to leave you there because it's your own bloody fault. So, whatever. But we are going to look at the bar. So, the bar itself, again, just minor tweaks. A few things just to touch up the area. Nothing really major has changed. And then over here, we've just got the seating area. But I just wanted to draw your attention to all of the Victorian architecture and all the fine details in here. It just sort of like brings it to life slightly. And lining up all of these beams was a nightmare. They all line up, they all touch where they should do, and yeah, it's loving life. And this ceiling, by the way, being plain is actually like this in Brighton too. It's really, really strange. You would have exposed wood on the side here, so you wouldn't have necessarily any decorations or anything fancy going on in here. So yeah, it's all looking good. It's as I wanted it to look. And then you've got the glass and stuff that's on the front. Here, plenty again of seating either side. So this side I put some sun lounges in because I just wanted to mix it up slightly, and then this side you've got exposed seating, and then this side you've just got some umbrella based seating going on. And then down the side of the pier, all along here, all of your usual seating, all of your usual benches, all of your bins and stuff going on, and also your life rings and whatever that you'd find on the side of a pier. I do have some extra stuff to put in, but I'm just waiting for them to be delivered. Spike has offered to do some stuff for me, so you know it's going to be good, but you know we've got to wait for it, and that's absolutely fine because I know it's worth the wait. But there will be some stuff that Spike is designing that's going to go along the side of the pier, and I can't wait to show you. It's going to be so good, so good. And then yeah, just some touching up along here as well, just to make it come to life. Right, so I promised a nighttime view, so let me show you how it is looking so far. There we go. So this is nighttime. So while I'm toying with this idea of having low level lighting because Planet Coaster does struggle with nighttime lighting. I mean, it's amazing. It's got amazing lighting, but there would be a lot of ambient light, flood lighting going on here. So this would actually be a lot lighter than it seems to be. But I'm just going for this for now. Let's just get the lighting in the right areas first. So we've got some flood lighting going on. The Bombora sign looks absolutely amazing at night. So does this one. It just lights up. It's just there. It's just like so in your face. And then you've got the flat rides over here. They've got their own lighting going on, and you've got their own strip lighting and their own animated lighting and stuff. So that makes that come to life. The Dodgems looks awesome, and then so does the restaurant. So the word beach is lit up here, and the rest wouldn't be, and I wanted that deliberately. Yeah, I just love it. And then you've got the strip lighting on the roof that just makes it shimmer. It gives the pier a bit of a shimmer to it, and it gives it a bit of animation. And you can see in the background you've got the two rides that we're probably going to use, and they are also animated, so they've got movement. So the pier is coming to life. It's starting to feel like it's alive. You can imagine it almost at the summer. So next episode, let's talk next episode before we actually wrap up. Let's just put this back because I want to show you how this looks from the front now, because it's actually looking like a pier. Look at this, it's actually looking like a pier. So next episode, it's my birthday week, so and I'm also got some work on, so I'm not going to do as much to the pier next week. There will still be an episode, but it's my birthday week and I want to celebrate, so please join me next Sunday as usual for my birthday launch. I'm going to be putting something in here. It's going to be a roller coaster, but I need to decide which it's going to be. Someone has suggested something that I want to try out, so that might be coming on here. See if you can guess it. You can probably find the comment, to be honest with you. And then I'm just going to put some other flat rides down, and we're going to call that the episode, and be done. And by the way, if you are interested, there is a live Brighton webcam, so you can actually look at a live webcam of the pier. It's better, obviously, in the daytime as it is at night time because it's not open at night. But I'll put a link to that in the description just in case you do want to go check that out. And then you can see just how much we've ripped off. Thank you so much for getting to the end of this episode, you guys. I really, really do appreciate it. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. You know what to do. Absolutely love every single one of you. But until we speak again, please have an awesome week. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.